Imagine being born in a world where every sunrise was a threat. Where the night wasn't rest, it was a desperate fight for survival. Where raw meat tore at your teeth, where winter was a death sentence, where the dark was filled with sounds you couldn't see but could feel. And then, one day, everything changed. Somewhere, somehow, a human being looked at a burning branch and didn't run. They reached out. They grabbed it. And they carried it home. That moment, whoever it was, wherever it happened, is the single most important event in the history of our species. This is the history of fire. We don't know the exact date. Fire leaves no fossils. But the best evidence places the first controlled use of fire at around 1.5 million years ago, deep in the early Stone Age. The site is called Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. Archaeologists found ash and burnt bone fragments, buried in sediment so old it predates our own species. Homo erectus, not yet human, not quite ape, sat in that cave and fed a flame. They hadn't invented language yet. They hadn't invented the wheel. They hadn't painted a single image on a wall. But they had fire. And fire changed everything about what it meant to be alive. To understand why fire matters so much, you have to understand what life was like before it. Our early ancestors spent most of their waking hours chewing. Raw meat takes hours to break down. Raw roots and tubers are almost indigestible. A typical meal for a pre-fire human required 5 to 6 hours of chewing every single day. The jaw muscles of early humans were massive. So massive that the skull couldn't expand, there was literally no room for a bigger brain. Fire changed that. Cooked food is pre-digested. Proteins break down. Starches become soft. A meal that once took 6 hours to eat now takes 30 minutes. Those freed up calories went straight to the brain. Within a few 100,000 years of mastering fire, the human brain doubled in size. You are smarter today because your ancestor burnt a piece of meat 1 million years ago. But controlling fire wasn't just about food. It was about territory. Before fire, every large predator was a threat. Saber-toothed cats, cave hyenas, giant bears, humans were prey. The hearth changed that. A single campfire created a ring of safety. Predators feared fire. And for the first time, humans could sleep through the night without fear. This wasn't just survival, it was a social revolution. Around the fire, people stayed awake longer. They talked, or rather, they grunted and gestured. They shared stories. They planned tomorrow. The hearth became the first classroom, the first council chamber, the first church. Every conversation you've ever had around a dinner table, in a very real way, it started around a campfire 1 million years ago. Fire wasn't only a tool for cooking and warmth. It was also a weapon. Ancient hunter-gatherers discovered that setting fire to grasslands would drive animals into kill zones. They could hunt entire herds at once, a single blaze feeding a tribe for weeks. Fire also became the first tool of war. There are cave paintings from 40,000 years ago showing humans launching burning projectiles at rival groups. The first weapon of mass destruction wasn't a bomb, it was a burning branch thrown into an enemy's camp. Fire didn't just make us human. It made us dangerous. Every ancient civilization understood that fire was the dividing line between animals and humans. The Greeks told the story of Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods and gave it to mankind, and was punished with eternal torment for it. In Greek mythology, fire wasn't discovered. It was stolen. And the punishment for stealing fire was so severe that it tells us something important: the ancients knew fire wasn't just a convenience. It was the gift that turned creatures into creators. In Zoroastrianism, fire was the visible form of divine wisdom. In Vedic tradition, fire, called Agni, was the messenger between humans and gods. In West African Yoruba mythology, fire came from the trickster god Ishu, who brought it to humanity as a tool of both creation and chaos. Every culture, everywhere, understood the same truth: fire was the beginning. Today we think we've moved beyond fire. We flick a switch. We turn a dial. We press a button. But open the hood of a car, you'll find tiny controlled explosions. Look at a power plant, it's boiling water with fire. Your phone, your laptop, the lights above you right now, they all trace their power back to something burning. We live in a world that fire built. From the first ember in a South African cave to the engine of a rocket leaving Earth, it's all the same flame. The next time you light a candle, or strike a match, or sit around a grill with friends, remember, you are doing something your ancestors did before they had language, before they had names, before they knew they were human. Fire made us. And it's still making us. Next week, the history of language. How we went from grunts to Shakespeare to Twitter in 200,000 years.